Yo, what up, people? Welcome back or welcome. I hope that this finds you when it needs to find you. I hope that you hear what you need to hear. And I really hope that you guys got outside today. It's a beautiful day out. I hope that you guys found joy and love within the little things, because sometimes that's needed, especially on days when it doesn't feel the best. And that was one of those days for me, and I found joy and love in the little things, and I really appreciated the way that my day turned out and the opportunity that I made of this day. And, sometimes that's just needed on days where you feel like you're falling from the height of your own aspirations. So now, before I continue with that, I would like to say that's not my phrase. I didn't come up with it. I wish I did. All credit to the person who came up with it, but he doesn't need my shout out. I'm going to be honest with you. Big time person does not need me. Anyways, I can translate that for you. So if you guys don't think I'm this large phony with the fact that that's not my statement and that's probably the thing that hooked you to get here, please allow me to translate that to you, and please allow me to just share my opinion on the matter that, somebody bestowed upon me. Let's put it that way. So my question for you is, are you really that far off of your goal? Or are you kind of just telling yourself that you are that far off your goal to kind of satisfy that notion? Are you ignoring progress to satisfy that notion that you are less than you truly are? Are you running away from the reality of how far you've come because you're afraid of taking a step further? And are you falling from the height of your own aspirations, in the sense that this idea that you build up in your mind, these expectations that you set in your mind, these aspirations that you have for yourself, the things that only you hear, when you fall down from that and when you fall short from that, a goal that you've set for yourself, are you just allowing it to eat you? Let's be honest with ourselves. The reality is that nobody hears the goals that you set within your own mind. Nobody, other than you. So when you fall down from this mountain that you've just built, you take a little bit of fall damage. When you tumble all the way to the bottom, there's bruises and cuts and scars and everything. You are damaged from the idea that you put in your head that you have now fell short of. Who's going to beat you up for that? It's you. So are we just falling from the height of our own aspirations? Or is there seriously something within you that you're falling short of? Are you being way too hard on yourself, or are you truly not meeting a goal that you have set? A goal that is needed. So by all means, if there's a goal that you feel that you need to set and that you need to accomplish or overcome, then you need to be doing that. By all means, if it's super important to you, then you need to live up to that. But you also need to acknowledge how far you've come, And an example of that is, my coworker looks at me and asks me at that time what I thought was an extremely random question, right? He looks at me and he says, "Hey, is that the first time you filled your water bottle today?" And I say, "Yeah, I think so. Why?" And he goes, "Yeah, man, I drink a lot of water and I fill it up a couple times a day, but, I was looking at your water bottle and I just couldn't imagine doing that. And I don't know how many you drink a day." And I said, "Yeah, man, I try to just drink, 3 of these a day." And we then acknowledged how big the water bottle is. And he said, "I try, and you drinking 3 of those a day are 2 completely contrasting or contradictory statements," whatever was said. And in that moment, I told him, I think some part of me really needed to hear that, so thank you. But B, I realized this is some subconscious goal that I've set that I didn't even realize that I accomplished. Because I'm so busy picking at every piece of my health that I'm not accomplishing, that I'm not realizing that within my health I've accomplished a goal that I've set a little while ago, and now I'm in better health than I was before because I'm actually acting on it. But I'm not giving myself that credit. I'm not giving myself what I'm due. I'm just setting more expectations, putting out more aspirations, and then when I don't overcome those and don't live up to those because I don't have the energy on top of everything that I already have to do, then I'm destroying myself and picking myself apart. Because when I sit down, then there's, a roll or two, which everybody has. I'm sure you guys can look at me and see that I'm a relatively skinny individual. But if I sit down and have a roll or two, then I'm beating myself up over the fact that I'm not in peak health and the ultimate condition, sitting here feeling uncomfortable in my skin because of that. No, I've accomplished things. I work out decently, I drink enough water, I eat good food, all that kind of shit. And no matter what the specifics are, I still need credit for the fact that I'm still alive in a world that aims to make sure that you're not alive. in a world that aims to make sure to put you in a spot that you feel so drained and just devoid of any love and joy that you either make that decision for yourself or you fall onto things that will basically do it for you and will destroy you from the inside out. We're fed things that are meant to kill you. It's not a secret. And the reality is that you're still alive. I'm still alive. I've accomplished goals within these goals that I've set. And I'm not looking at it and saying, wow, good job, dude. You've done that. I mean, who does? What kind of person stops and sits and understands their progress, understands how valuable they are and how big of a piece they play in this world? We're usually just anticipating, what the next step is, and then if we can't get to that next step in time, then we're beating ourselves up and picking ourselves apart for it. It's not right. We're all falling from the height of our own aspirations, building up, this tower, this huge tower, and then once we just realize that we can't really reach the top of it, then we're all just falling down and getting so hurt and bruised in the process. The reality is you're doing enough. You're doing enough. So no matter what you feel, no matter how you feel, no matter, how many goals you set and how many goals you do or don't accomplish, no matter who hears them and who doesn't, you're still doing enough. You're still making enough of an impact. You're still playing a part in this world. Now, don't let any of that reassurance mean that you can't strive for more. I don't want to walk that line between, telling you that everything's fine and you don't have to lift a finger, and then also encouraging you to not lift a finger. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to tell you that you don't have to work for the things that you want or need or feel that you aim to grow and all that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to simply explain to you that A, credit where credit's due, and B, don't get so caught in your own mind and set these aspirations and the bar so high that when you fall short of it, that you are just suddenly less of a person. You're not any less of a person. You're not losing any time, losing any value as a person. You're not losing anything just because you are being a normal person. Don't be scared. Don't run away from the reality that is you, and don't be scared and run away from giving yourself the credit that you deserve, how far you've come, and try to just understand that, those baby steps need to be valued because they're steps in itself, You may not want to hear baby steps are valued because you're so busy focused on the bigger steps. But the truth is, if you're so concerned about baby steps being so small, then you're clearly making enough progress in the day-to-day that you don't have to worry about the baby steps, because that's still you making small progress on days when you probably need a break and probably need to make no progress at all. In those times when you need to reset, you're probably the kind of person that's still grinding for more, Me, today, all that I wanted was to just go somewhere, relax, chill out, not do anything. Yesterday was the same thing. But yesterday, I was up late editing a podcast and then rearranging my room for some odd reason because I was on a kick for it. And now today, I'm recording another podcast. I choose not to take these breaks. I choose not to because I know that I want more from my life. And I'm sure that you're the same way. But you just need to understand that if you set this bar so high that you are just, scaring the shit out of yourself to the point where you're paralyzed and you don't do anything at all, then you kind of have to realize that, you're only damaging yourself as you do that. You're only damaging yourself as you set these aspirations so high that when you fall, you're hurt. You break a leg from it, That old saying, break a leg, maybe don't on the height of your own aspirations, Just don't create this Don't create this mission, then get mad at yourself when you don't complete that mission, I'm sure that you've done it 1,000 times. I'm sure that you've completed that mission 1,000 times. But if you can't get up and repeat something day in, day out, over and over again, then you're not any less of a person. You're not any less of a person if you do or don't do anything. You are valuable as a person. We were meant to be valuable as a person in the first place. That's the truth. The truth is that no matter how high the bar is set, no matter how close you land to that, it doesn't matter. You're still valuable. You're still valued as a person. You're still worth it as a person, And we need to stop running from that reality and trying to, prove this notion right that we're less than we actually deserve to feel, We're not. We're beautiful in our own right, and just because you have this idea in your head that just about nobody could meet, and you're the only person in your mind that thinks, I'm going to do this to be different, doesn't mean that you are worse off. In fact, you're better off because you're aiming higher, Shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars, is that what it is? Whatever the fuck it is. You're doing it. You're aiming high, and then you're landing high, and just because you don't land high doesn't mean that you're any less of a person, I know I've repeated that, but you just need to understand that, isn't the first step enough? Isn't the first step good? Aren't you able to be good with that, to feel content with that, and to ease that pressure? Because that pressure kind of comes from the story that you tell yourself from the start, and the story that you tell yourself before you even start. The pressure kind of comes from the idea that you're putting forward before you even take your first step. And then that first step needs to be exceeding expectation because you're that kind of person, because you can't just do something half-assed. Now, if you accomplish it, it's not that you accomplished it, it's, how consistently am I going to accomplish that before you've even mastered it. You can't ask yourself, how often can I do this, when you don't even know what you're doing yet? If you don't know how to build a house, why are you building a tower that you need to climb? If you don't know how to deal with heights, why is your aspiration so high? You've got to ask yourself these things, and you've got to understand and give yourself credit. Aim high. Yes, aim high. But don't aim so high and then, when you're the only person who knows that you're aiming that high and you might fall a little bit short of that, hate yourself over it. You deserve care, you deserve love, and so does your body. And if your body needs a rest and you can't get up and do the same thing every single day, day in, day out, oops, And if you fell behind a little bit, I know, it bugs you, but you're human, And again, don't let this mean that you don't have to lift a finger. Don't let this be reassurance for the idea that, you're allowed to be lazy. You're not allowed to be lazy. But the chances are, if you're setting these aspirations, the chances are that you're getting a lot closer to that than you're ever going to give yourself credit for. Chances are that if you're setting new goals, you've already accomplished old goals. That doesn't mean settle for those old goals, but that means if you don't accomplish that on the first go, then don't be so stressed out about the fact that you've never accomplished anything, when that's just not the truth. The truth and the fact of the matter is that you do enough, and you do enough often enough. So if you do something or set some kind of bar, then you don't live up to it, then you don't need to be astronomically scared and worried about where you're at and the person that you're becoming and what you're doing just because you fell short of something that just about 99% of society doesn't even aim to accomplish. You've kind of got to realize that you have done things before. You have done enough before. And if you don't do enough this time, there's always time to adjust, always time to overcome that. There's always time to bounce back. But if you're so focused on the idea that, this sucks and I'll never bounce back, you may never bounce back. You want to put that in your own head. You may never bounce back. You may never succeed on the thing that you're aiming to succeed on if you spend all your time worrying about not accomplishing that instead of honing in on your craft. You're so paralyzed with this fear of things that are so astronomical that you shouldn't have been able to conquer them on the first try, that you're not even concerning yourself with how to conquer them on the next try or the try after that. Failure is inevitable. And if you fail, then you have to understand failure is inevitable. You have to take that as it comes and take that in stride and continue to stride with that and continue to walk with that. But if you don't learn how to walk, why are you beating yourself up for not knowing how to run? So, I don't know, I think we're all doing it. And, me especially, that's probably why I'm sitting here trying to talk about it. But I think we all fall from the height of our own aspirations. I think we all fail ourselves in things that are way too high for us to ever anticipate succeeding in. And then we hate on ourselves for being a human being. And that's another common theme within these episodes, is that when you're a human being, you deserve credit for just being a human being. Stop hating on yourself for doing things that other people have done before. Stop hating on yourself for aiming to accomplish something that nobody has aimed to accomplish before. and then maybe failing because the aspiration is so high. So again, are we falling from the height of our own aspirations? Are you doing way more than you'll ever give yourself credit for, and now you're just beating yourself up because it's not exactly what you imagined in this moment in time? I'm sure you'll get there, but maybe there's steps in between that you need to pay attention to. Maybe if you can't accomplish those things, then maybe you need to set smaller goals and take slower steps. But acting like it's all over and you're going to give up on it, and feeling like it's inevitable that you were to fail, when really it was the goal that was too high, it's not you that fell short. You kind of need to just take that and give yourself credit for what you deserve credit for, I know I'm just repeating myself at this point, but I just really want you guys to understand that if you set this bar in your mind, you can't expect to A, hit it first try, or B, hit it at all if it's so far down the line. I'm planning 4 years in advance, and then getting mad at myself that I'm not 4 years in advance when I'm currently here and now. Planning tours or the next songs or whatever, when I just need to focus and finish up the song that's in front of me. And I know that that's frustrating. I know that that's why we plan for more, is because what's in front of you is bothering you, because you need to learn about what's in front of you and you need to master what's in front of you, and that takes patience, and sometimes we don't have patience. However, you need to focus on actually understanding that, actually having the patience for that before you anticipate that you want to be 4 to 5 years in advance because you believe that you can get there. Believe that you can get there. You deserve that. However, when you fall short from that, inevitably, don't die over it. Don't, say rest in peace to my career, all of my mindset for the next couple days because I fell short of the thing that everybody would. You deserve credit. You deserve credit for who you are, where you're at, what you do, what you have done, and for the fact that you're even trying for things that are way out of your reach right now. But if they're way out of your reach and you fall short, oops, fell short, I'm going to try again a different time, even if that's not tomorrow, even if that's not the day after that, even if it's not this week. So stop setting this goal so high that when you fall, you scare the shit out of yourself and you go paralyzed. Keep moving. Keep moving, and don't hate on yourself for being you, for being human, because you deserve better than that. So I hope that all made sense. I hope that it was all cohesive, and I mean that because you guys deserve the best from this message specifically. So I love you guys. Appreciate you guys for listening, if you're listening. I hope that this found you and it needs to find you. I hope that you heard what you need to hear. And, don't worry about what's at the top of the mountain. Just worry about your next step. Thank you guys. Peace.